My husband and I had something really scary happen to us back in December of 2022. We had rented this cabin out in the Tennessee area, the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area. It was like a 30-minute drive from the downtown area because that's what we wanted, something kind of secluded. But we wanted this property with a great view and a lot of Christmas decorations. So we rented this place for our 20th anniversary. And when we were on our way there, the weather said that there was this big snowstorm coming. The snowstorm didn't really bother us at all, so we were actually kind of looking forward to that. And we stopped at a Dollar General when we were on our way to the cabin to stop and get extra food just to be safe. As we were getting close to the property, we seen this clearing and this uphill gravel road to our cabin. The house was huge and it was surrounded by woods, and it had this big deck around it, and it had a hot tub sitting out front. Place was super festive. It had all these candy canes lining the driveway all the way up to the house. They had like these big reindeers outside and this very tall snowman. It looked really awesome. We had to make several trips to and from our truck into the cabin because we brought so much stuff with us. When we walked inside, the cabin had this really cozy feeling. They had a big Christmas tree, stockings over the fireplace, little decorations in every single room. And the whole cabin smelled like cinnamon. It was really neat. Well, there were 3 bedrooms in this cabin, and obviously we didn't need all 3. So we put our luggage and all our extra stuff in one of the separate bedrooms. So I did my normal thing of looking in every single room. I looked out every window of the cabin. I turned on the TV to see if they had like Netflix or just normal cable. There wasn't upstairs, but it was like a loft. It had a couch, and then there was a arcade machine and a pool table. Then I found this door to a basement, and I did go down there, and it felt very disconnected from the rest of the cabin. It wasn't decorated to be like hung out in. It was just very empty and cold, like maybe just where you would store stuff, but it was a full basement. And then all of a sudden there was a knock at the door. So I went and opened the door, and it was this man, probably in like his late 40s, early 50s. He had a stocking cap hat on, and he had like a yellowish flannel kind of torn jacket and big gray boots. And he goes, "Hey, how are you guys doing?" I said, "We're doing okay." And I asked him if he was the host for the cabin. He said, "No, but I own the property with my brother." And I asked him what his name was, and he said his name was Tom. He told me that he lived just up the hill if me and my husband needed anything. And I told him thank you, and then I closed the door. I found it interesting that he mentioned my husband because my husband hadn't come to the door with me. He was actually in the restroom. So I figured maybe his brother told him that I was coming to the cabin with my husband. Because when I did book the cabin, when I spoke to the man named Mike, I mentioned to him that I was coming there with my husband for our anniversary and wanting a really festive cabin. Well, then it started snowing, and it was pitch black outside, and I decided to start cooking some of the food we bought for dinner. When I was done cooking dinner, we actually ate our dinner on the big cozy sectional that they had, and we were watching National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because we love Christmas movies, and that's the best one. So when the movie was over, of course we weren't tired or anything, so we decided to go out and sit in the nice hot tub that they had out on the big deck. It was really nice out there. It was snowing hard. There was beautiful Christmas lights outside, and we were just sitting in that hot tub having a really good time. All of a sudden, the hot tub bubbles stopped, and everything went silent, and it was really quiet out there. We're out in the middle of nowhere, and we could unmistakably start hearing footprints in the snow. So my husband and I are just looking at each other, seeing if we realized we both are hearing the same thing. And my husband whispered to me, "Should I shout who's there?" And I said no. So we just kept listening to these footprints, and it did sound like they were moving away from us, and we just sat in the tub quietly until we couldn't hear the footsteps anymore. My husband said, "It's probably just like a deer walking through the snow." But deep down, I know those footprints sounded like human footprints. Well, we got out of the hot tub, and we decided to go inside and take a hot shower really quick. Well, we get in the shower and the hot water didn't even last like 2 minutes though. Something was wrong because when the water turned ice cold, we both yelled and just jumped out of the shower really quick and grabbed our towels. I went and got my phone and immediately decided to message Mike, the owner of the cabin, and he got back with me in like 20 minutes and said he would send someone over tomorrow to check the hot water heater. So after we sort of took a shower, we just decided to call a night and go to bed. Well, in the middle of the night, we awoke, and I don't know what time it was, to this really violent banging on the front door. My husband said, I'm going to get up and see who that is. And I held him back and I said, no, let's just sit here. We're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why anyone would want to be disturbing us in the middle of the night out here in this cabin. And I think there were like 3 sets of really loud and really angry banging before it stopped. My husband and I were just sitting there looking at each other in the bed, and then my husband got up and just decided to lock the bedroom door as added security. We just kept sitting in the bed waiting to see if we heard anything else, and after just sitting there kind of nervous for the next half hour, we just decided to lay back down and try to go back to sleep. Well, the next morning, I immediately grabbed my phone and messaged Mike, the owner of the cabin, again. And this time he responded back to me quickly, and he seemed kind of concerned like we were about the banging on the doors in the middle of the night. He basically said how strange it was, and he had no idea why anyone would be roaming around the property, especially in the middle of the night. He said if anything happens like that again, that we should hurry up and alert the authorities. And that really wasn't the most reassuring response, but he was right. I didn't want to be this nuisance person that rented his cabin, but he was the only person we could contact, and I didn't know what else to do. There was a lot of snow outside, and it was a pretty dark and gloomy day, and it was still kind of snowing a little bit outside too. My husband went outside to clean off our SUV just in case, and when we was out there, he said he noticed some footprints in the snow going around the outside of the house. And I remember the knocks from the middle of the night, and I wondered if that was the same person. But these footprints, I went and looked at them myself, and they looked fresh. And it snowed all night, so wouldn't the ones from the middle of the night already been filled in? Then we started to hear footprints again, and we seen Tom. He started walking up to us from behind our SUV. I went ahead and mentioned to him about the issues we were having with the hot water, and that I had texted Mike about it, and he said that he would be looking into it today. He said, yes, I know. I'm here to actually take a look at it for you. So then I also decided to tell him about the violent knocking we were hearing on our door in the middle of the night, and I showed him the fresh footprints in the snow too. He looked at him and he goes, yeah, well, we're out in the mountains, and there are some people that go around snooping on the property sometimes in the middle of the night. I said, so should we not be using the hot tub at nighttime? And he goes, oh no, that shouldn't be a problem. So we all went into the cabin, and he walked around for just a little bit before heading down to the basement to look at the hot water heater. The guy kind of gave me a weird vibe, so I went ahead and just got my phone, and I texted Mike again and said, Tom is here to look at the water heater. And Mike replied back, oh, is Tom the name of the plumber? And I replied, no, your brother. And he replied back, what do you mean? My brother? The guy says that he's my brother? And then it started to click. I hurried up and texted him back. I said, do you have a brother that owns this cabin with you? And he replied back, no. I hurried over to my husband and I whispered to him, we've got to get our shit and we've got to get in the truck now. We grabbed all of our stuff, we took it out to our SUV, and we sped off as quietly as we could while that guy was down in the basement. I'm sure we forgot something, but we didn't care. As we were pulling away, I turned around to look out the side mirror, and I could see that man coming out of the cabin looking at us. When we got down to Pigeon Forge, we ended up texting the owner of the cabin again and told him, you need to get the cops there now. A few hours later, the owner of the cabin did contact us again and apologized for everything, but he never knew who that guy was, and we're not really sure what else happened. I'm just glad we got out of there.